But as far as the Braggots go, he has to have in order to make that. So he has his own brewery premise, where he has it, and legally it can't be 51% honey. So I wonder exactly how much proportion of honey he actually uses, and so that might be a good reference if you guys if you as as a podcast want to focus more on Braggots. I definitely recommend getting Mike Falling in the conversation.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Mike back. He was on last year, but I definitely want to have him back because he swept commercial Braggots one year. They were all good because I tried a couple of them, and I'm not generally a big Braggot fan, but I liked them. They were good. I mean, they're not something that I would choose as my daily drinker because it's just not my particular favorite style, but they were good. They were very, very good. Obviously, they won, so... David Webb is saying, sounds like he needs to come to the Mazer Cup. Yeah, totally, David. You need to be there. Pavel needs to be there, too, Pavel.
All I got to say is, do what you want at home, but if you're looking to go to commercial, just make sure you make really great stand-up product, because I think one of the biggest things that I try to fight for, and this is why I share whatever information I have as far as like how I make mead and any tips for making better mead, is I think the more good mead that people are making out there, even on the homebrew side, when you're sharing with friends, if you give them crap, then they're probably going to be turned off from ever trying a commercial mead as well. But especially on the commercial side, I think we the quicker we move towards having just really great high quality mead across the board on the liquor store shelves, especially, I think the better it's going to be for mead overall.
Oh yeah.
When I mention I have these anniversary parties, for example, at private anniversary parties at my house for the guys, and I invite my sister-in-laws and all that, and we're literally drinking mead all day. We went through 20-something bottles of mead this past Sunday, and sometimes it's unfortunate because I'm excited to share, to taste all these meads myself and share all these meads, and sometimes you taste a mead that you're just like, oh wow, okay.
What were they thinking?
Next, yeah.
Well, that raises the other half of the question. I've tasted a lot of really excellent meads that sadly, by the time I get them home, like if I carry them back from the Mazer Cup or something, they're not shelf stable. They get here and they're skunked. They've gone around. They step sideways, whatever, and they're no longer drinkable. And or you store, ones that are storable that in theory should age well but don't, because I don't know what all's going on behind the scenes there, because obviously I'm not privy to how they put it together, but having a shelf stable, if you can make awesome mead all day long, but if it's not shelf stable, it's going to taste like shitty mead when it gets into the hands of the consumers.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Even going back to the whole what I've learned thing, I think one topic that I brought up in at least more than one post was I'm really happy that I didn't start distributing from day one, because we're making excellent meads from day one. I can say that, but we had issues, for example, with stabilization. So let's say all of a sudden we have these great meads that we've made, and then 5-6 months later, all of a sudden we're pouring a bottle in the tasting room for a touring tasting, and oh wow, there's a little carbonation coming out of this bottle. And it's like, uh-oh. Well, if we had bottles out there on liquor store shelves, guess what? I'd be buying a lot of product back from my distributors. And if customers, complain to the liquor stores, and if all of my bottles in every liquor store started carbonating, then guess what? Then those liquor stores aren't going to want to buy from me or my distributors either.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's, I'm actually really, really happy that we never started distributing from day one, because we got to really hone in our process and filtration and stabilization, and making sure by the time we started distributing, we were putting out A+ product.
Yeah.
I even put money down on a crossflow filter we're getting delivered in another week and a half. I'm going as far as I possibly can go as far as making sure that the meads that we put out there are A-plus product.
Well, now, don't tell me there's not a little bit of, ooh, look at the cool toys going on there, too, Serge. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Because I saw that
Well,
bottling
here's the
line,
advantage
you
to
were
a
like
crossbow.
You were like a kid at Christmas when that bottling line came in.
Oh, I still am. Sometimes I still say out loud, I still can't believe we have a bottling line.
And, I mean, not just a bottling line, dude. You've got the bottling line.
No, it's nice. It's a modest bottling line. It's not crazy, you know. It's not going through different rooms or going up and down different. I mean,
well,
it's a modest-sized bottling line.
No, but I mean, for a meadery, what you got is quite. You know, I mean, you're probably above, head and shoulders above, at least 50% of the marketplace right now.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, there's more and more.
Yeah, no, it's a really great system.
Yeah, I mean, you totally.
Oh, yeah, but the crossflow is definitely, this is a boy getting a new toy kind of a thing. But on the business end of it, going back to distributing commercially and wholesale prices and margins, holy crap, a crossflow system is like the best investment that you can make. Because, so for example, we're filtering everything through plate and frame filters, all the way down to 0.45 micron, which is considered sterile filtration. So we're trying to strip as much yeast out of the mead as possible before it goes into a bottle.
Yeah.
Well, plate and frame filter is only at best 70% effective, so you're still going to get yeast that makes it into the bottle. So then so in order to even filter down that much with the plate and frame filter, before you can pass it through a cartridge absolute filtration that'll strip out 99.999% of the yeast, the plate and frame filter, you're going to lose a lot of product that gets soaked up into all those filter pads, that drips out of the bottom of the filter. You lose a decent amount of product. So, perfect example to talk real numbers, if we start with a 280-gallon batch, we're lucky if we bottle 240 gallons worth of that batch.
Wow.
So think about how much loss due to those filtrations. We're going through 4 different filtration steps. Some meteors go through 5 or 6.
That's close.
That's
to
like
40% loss. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a big.
So now imagine a crossflow filter. Yeah. Now imagine a crossflow filter where no matter whether you're filtering 50 gallons or 5,000 gallons, you only lose 6 gallons. So now we're not losing a percentage of our batch through plate and frame filtration. We're losing a set amount of gallons, a set amount of volume, no matter how big the batch is. So exponentially, the bigger batch we make, the more yield we actually do get out of it, because we're still only losing that 6 gallons through the crossflow filtration. That means you're getting, for every 1,000 liter batch, if you're bottling in 500 milliliter bottles, for every 1,000 liter batch that you start at 280 gallons, if you use a crossflow, you're easily getting another 30-something cases worth of, 12 bottle cases worth of product that you weren't getting before.
And depending on your case margin, or whatever, whatever level you calculate your margins at, that could mean enough money to pay for that sucker in, a reasonable amount of time.
Oh, it's going to be paid off in just under a year.
Nice.
Just under a year. Yeah, like so it's a shitload of money up front. I'll tell you that. But then you're also you're lowering your unit cost because you're getting so much more product out of from the same exact investment that you were putting into filling a tank to begin with. So you're lowering your unit cost, increasing your margins. You're also not buying filter pads anymore and having to keep all the different grade filter pads in stock all the time to be ready for whenever you need it. And you're also saving a ton of time because if you want to run a plate and frame filtration at the proper flow rate, you're gonna be there for quite a while to do even 4 filtrations through a plate and frame filter. Through a crossflow, especially if you get an automatic crossflow, you can literally hook up your biggest batch and have it filter and clean itself overnight, all automatically. You walk in the next morning, you could hook up another tank and start filtering that.
Nice.
So, I mean, you're gaining a ton of time, you're saving a ton of money from buying filter products, and you're gaining a ton more product and increasing your margins. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's money in the bank right there.
Yeah.
This might be a complex question.
In the end,
this might be a bit complex, but how exactly do they work in comparison to a plate and frame?
Well, plate and they're both considered depth filtrations, but plate and frame, you're trying to pass through a filter pad. So you're basically pushing product, and it has to pass. No matter what, it has to pass through that filter pad, or filter pads, plural. With crossflow, it's essentially a reverse osmosis system for wine. So essentially, it's crossing across the membranes, the filter media, and whatever goes through. Whatever doesn't continues to pass and circulates back in until all of it goes through that filter pad. So it's not forcing anything in. And during the process with a good crossflow filtration system, you also, with a good system, you have a backwashing, automatic backwashing feature that will essentially kind of like regenerate your filter membranes automatically during the process. So once they get to drop to a low flow rate, the system will kind of backwash itself, kind of regenerate the filter media, and it'll start over again.
Oh, I see. So the wine that doesn't go through is essentially treated like in a reverse osmosis, like the wastewater, but instead of just getting kicked out, it gets recirculated. Oh,
exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
David is asking, what brand of crossflow are you using?
Oh, I forgot the name brand, but it's I bought it from Scott Labs actually. So they only have one brand of crossflow, and they have a great system. It's also modular. So if you end up expanding your production, you can actually expand your crossflow. So you essentially just need to buy one crossflow system instead of having to buy a bigger one later down the line and having to either worry about sticking your old one in a corner or trying to sell it. You could expand it. It starts with 3 filter membranes, and you could expand it either up to 6 or 9 filter membranes.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah, it's whatever brand. If you go on Scott Labs website, you go up to the top, filtration or equipment. I forgot exactly what it is, but it's pretty easy to find. It's whatever brand they have. I forgot the actual name of the brand off the top of my head. But it's from Italy. It's a really reputable filtration company.
Okay, cool. I'll find it and link it on the page so people can track it down.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of home mead makers.
Yeah. So many home mead makers can be running out and buying one of these unbelievably expensive things.
Yeah, because we can afford to lose six gallons on the batch.
Yeah, well, they've got a sheet filter, a cartridge filter, and a lenticular filter.
Yeah, if you go to I think maybe equipment. If you go to equipment, you'll find it under there.
Okay. Filtration, there it is. Okay. Gotcha. And they're showing like pictures. VLS Technologies. David beat me to it. Thank you, David.
But it is definitely worth investing in. If I had known what I know now, I probably would have spent good money on getting a crossflow system from day one. It's a lot of money up front. It's going to require a lot more upfront capital to open the meadery, but depending on what size you're starting out at, it could be worth it. You just have to kind of think about how much volume you're planning on producing within the first year or two, and if it pays itself off in 3 to 4 years, it's still worth it.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, you got to take the long view. That's the thing. It's about, it's about what works, and as you say, you're saving you're saving close to, 15 to 17% over what the previous filter was doing, and that equates to more, so that's saving on product cost, and then that equates to more sales, which is, of course, increased profits, and it says less time, which means you're saving on employment costs, and, so on and so forth.
Yep.
And everything. I mean, it's at every single level you're saving money, so you got to look at that long view.
Exactly. Yeah, at one point or another, you got unless you're planning on starting like a small shop meadery, which is, just fine. I would still have a backup because, in my opinion, if you start small, it's not going to last, especially if you're the only one running the meadery. If you break the leg or catch the flu, you're out of business.